to do not interrupt me again for 23 hours. That same message popped up. I'm going to have to get with YouTube on this because I do not appreciate it. Okay, so I've got the Palo Santo rolling. I've got a little frustration. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little frustrated now. A little frustrated here with YouTube popping up that reminder, because the last time it popped up, I went and switched it to say, do not interrupt me again. And it interrupted me again. And it cut out. Like when that pops up, it literally cuts me off. Has anyone else had that happen? Now on this particular, this is my public channel. On this particular channel, I don't have YouTube Premium. So maybe they've made some sort of change where now they're just gonna interrupt your stuff and tell you to take a break. But I did change it to like 23 hours. Don't talk to me again about resetting for 23 hours. Ah, the reading is too powerful for YouTube. I know, we're doing too much transformation here. So I'm getting the Palo Santo out. I'm going to get the Palo Santo on the device. A little Palo Santo for YouTube. Lighting our fire. Maybe you got to grab your candle. But I was also going to talk about saunas. Some of you might enjoy the sauna as well. I have one of those portable kind of like pop-up tent red light saunas, and I really love it. That's another way to work with the fire and the warm energies. So that's what's really come up in this reading. And hopefully I can get through the next reading before YouTube decides to pop up another thing. Because as it stands, what I'm going to have to go and do on all these replays is probably going to take me all night to get all the titles and descriptions updated and the thumbnails and all the tags and, you know, oh, thanks YouTube. Cheers. But I've got a good group, and who's meant to be here is here. I truly, honestly believe that. We're going to get into reading number 3. So resetting the nervous system, fire energy, transformation, letting the warm, the hot flashing, and those kind of things inform us about our transformation. Maybe they are the signs, like Girl Gone said, the signs of I was energetically transforming. That's all there was to it. So if you, okay, Girl Gone had also said, Walmart sells a sage and Palo Santo with a lavender candle. Oh my gosh, really? That sounds like a good deal. Perfect time for me to light my fire, burn my Palo Santo. Dragon's blood sage. I have used that resin before, the dragon's blood like resin. Incense resin that you light the little charcoal and then you put the incense resin on top. It's pretty powerful. It's pretty potent. All right, let's get into our last reading. Now this one, let's lighten. Okay, so I'm gonna let go. I'm gonna release these little annoying kickouts from YouTube. And the technology and whatever's going on there, I'm gonna have to research it. And there's a little gnat trying to get me here. Carry on, Nat, somewhere else. We're going to reclaim our voice here. We're going to reclaim our innate powers to create our lives, to manifest, to honor what's inside of us authentically. All right? And so in this way, guess what we got? Boom. We do this by letting all the old structures crumble. We do this by letting our old patterns fall away. And sometimes, yes, it's a harsh lesson. Sometimes it feels powerful. It feels like everything is crumbling down. But remember, our last reading showed us that the fires of transformation, the phoenix rising from the ashes, that's what gets us there. So for some of us, the first phases of this may look like you're in the death throes of just, you know, everything's crashing down. I can't land anywhere. I'm free falling with nothing to grab onto. and everything's burning down. The world is burning, right? We could be looking out amongst the effects field and saying the world's on fire, everything's breaking down. I, amidst all this, am going to figure out how to find my voice, align with the truth. I'm going to turn this tower. A lot of towers are positive because they're the breaking down of the things that don't work for us anymore, whether personally or collectively, societally, all of that. And we're seeing it happen. We're seeing the breakdown of structures. We're seeing the breakdown happen in many, many different ways. And that, again, I want to underscore how challenging it is to be human and how brave we are for coming here and doing this right now. So can you find the power in your ability to transform from the inside out? Can you find your power in the environment of breakdown, right? The Hermit really helps with that. I don't mean to sound too preferential to the Hermit, but I love the Hermit archetype because the wisdom's there, right? And it's knowing that you'll find your landing, and you'll find the points of light. Here again, like that Moon card, we have this like light energy, fragmented but floating around. And if we reach for that and find those points of light, boom. Yep, Michael, embracing the breakdown instead of resisting. Yes. Embracing, flowing, observing, allowing, listening, those kinds of energies. On Schumann, there's not a cue for like personal questions, but come back on Sunday night. If you're around on Sunday night, 7 to 8 p.m. Central, I have my live Q&A for personal mini readings. But if you have anything to share on Schumann about like people-pleasing tendencies, even if they're like, you know, they come from a good intended place, or you feel like it's good, but you got yourself, you know, into some pickles in the past about like trying to over people please with someone else. Like, how did that work out for you? I love to hear about people's relationships to this. Wow. This reading is throwing me for a loop. I love the embracing the breakdown of creating something beautiful amidst everything falling apart, okay? Because it is the reset. But we're also being shown some challenging energies here, okay? To get us to where we want to be, which we got another 10. And we're going to get to that 10, okay? We're going to get to that completion because this is about our authenticity rising. So being able to embrace that breakdown, like Michael said, and the chaos, you know, amidst all the chaos, here comes the devil card energy, Capricorn energy, all right? The number 15, 1 plus 5 is 6. And we came from the 5. I feel like these readings are even connecting because now we're kind of at a 6. 6 is the Lover's card in the major arcana of the tarot. So in come relationship dynamics here. Indicator. How can the devil help us? Because it indicates to us where we're trying to hold on to control. And one of the things we do to hold on control is to resist the universe's flow of what's happening, or resist our own greater being, what our own greater being is going to show up for. We get in the way of that with this energy here. Karen feels like a lot of it relates to her particular dealings with her basement tenants who haven't been receptive to diplomacy. Yeah. No matter what you do, you'll not be able to make any headway with it. So how can you allow yourself to flow out of that situation? Put your attention when you can, because I know they're very distracting. Neighbors can be very distracting and very, you know, imposing. But how can you flow to this beautiful future that's coming to meet you? How can you flow in those energies? Find that platinum river that will carry you there, that golden river. To the homeowners who haven't been not given us the power to handle things in a more professional and legal way, and want you to be a peacekeeper with impossible people. Yeah, that happened in the corporate world to me a lot. You would have to like keep peace with people who you can't reason with them. If you can't reason with them, they don't want to come to that place. They don't want to come to the middle ground. They just want to stay doing what they're doing. So that's been a challenge here too. The devil card is, the number of the devil card is 15, or 1 + 5 is 6, which is connected to the Lovers card in that way. The devil card is definitely feeling bound to things, but it also is a teacher in the sense of, where do you feel constricted, or where are you holding on too tightly, and how can you free yourself and let go? And it's a Capricorn energy, so it's going to be ambitious. It's going to want to work on this. It's going to want to work on things. And when you want to work on things, it can feel like you have to take action, but can we learn to work on things by aligning with the flow? Can we learn to work on things by letting go and just removing ourselves? You know, I almost see like us floating away from the resistance. Can we just back off from that, right? Can we just create some distance there? Now, number 6, interestingly, is a card of accomplishment and celebration. Because remember, the 5 pulls you in, like if you think of a 5-pointed star, it pulls you into the edges, to the challenges. And the 6 is like a celebratory card. The devil card doesn't feel like that in the major arcana to me necessarily, except when we think about overcoming issues of control, which is people pleasing. Pleasing is a controlling issue because you're trying to control people's responses to you. You're trying to control not feeling the fear. So in that way, when we're really facing it and we take it head on like Capricorn will meet things head on, and we kind of use that earth energy to connect and dig into Mother Earth and how she can help us, we can really learn to back away from the resistance. So this is complicated. It feels a bit complicated. I'm not gonna lie. And it feels a bit like what I'm seeing is like the sacrifice of battles to win the war, right? That's what this energy feels like with these things coming up like this, as it applies to us being able to be authentic, being able to magnetize what we want into our lives. Now, we have the Page of Cups here. I got to cover up a little bit right there, but we have the Page of Cups. Now, romantically speaking, this is not really a romance reading here. So, but there's 3 characters in here, and they seem to be celebrating, but there's still yet a bit of, the page is new to things. The page is a bit immature, and this to me might represent, for some of us, there could be a bit of emotional distraction. I'm getting those 2 words, emotional distraction. So when you think about how you're feeling or what emotions you're processing when all this is coming up, and it almost feels like some of you are really, really working on putting yourself in those gentler, softer energies where you can back away from the resistance. You can just let go and release and do your nesty plunge or your free fall. And I almost feel like some of you, there's things going on that just yank you right back or pull you right back, and you're like in battle mode. It kind of feels like a bit of a yo-yo, like you're almost there and then boom. All right. I am feeling those blocks and obstacles, and I feel like maybe some of it is emotional processing. It might sound like, or feel like to you, a bit of a stop. Okay? Could feel like a bit of a stop. Like, oh, I just got stopped, you know? I just got stopped here. I'm distracted now with these emotional energies. And how we work through that. I'm actually going to pull I want to get a Sacred Traveler Oracle card here for this, because it feels very much like an emotional quagmire where there's kind of like, you keep going around and around, and there's a particular emotion here. So I don't know if some of you are feeling this. It could come up in like grief or sadness, maybe anger, resentment. For some of you, it might be the emotional ties to judgments on yourself and others. How can we move through this? How can we be informed differently about this? Okay, so it might have to do a little bit with expectations, which I was talking about earlier. We got miracles, expect wondrous things to emerge. Now that's tricky to do when we're having something emotional come up that's maybe new to us, or a new level of the emotion arise. But we got our genie here. Kind of reminds me of the star card in the tarot. Maybe it's time to make a wish and to focus on, okay, this is how it has felt. This is how it feels. This is how I would tell the story of my journey with this, trying to control these energies. How would I like to rewrite that story? And let me rewrite it in its highest and best form. Maybe some of you have a little storytelling to do with yourself, to rewrite something for yourself. It could be judgment, releasing judgment of yourself about something. That could be one of the emotional energies. There's definitely moons again in these cards here for sure. So there's that moon again. There's the shadow energies. Let me see what else you said. It almost seems like there are two people that are slaves to this devil energy. Yes, it is a binding energy down here. There's two creatures being bound to this energy. Now in the Lovers card, they are also bound, but the binds are loose, so they can take the binds off. For some, this may mean choosing love over fear. I see another moon. I was told to expect 2 new gifts from another tarot reading yesterday, and I confirmed it too. Good. Yeah. Make your wish. Expect the wondrous to emerge. I'm glad. And you know, Girl Gone, you bring up a really beautiful point, because that's like the highest and best use of tarot, you know? I mean, sure, you can go in and ask a question and get a yes, no answer. Sure, you can kind of look at the tarot very surface level and just learn the, you know, general meanings, and, you know, you see it out there. Anybody can read tarot, but to actually utilize the messages and what's being shared, and to look at these archetypes from different perspectives, and to see the different things, like even as I've been going, you all are noticing different things in the cards as well. That's your own intuition guiding you to something specific in that card. And then to be able to take that, like pieces of the puzzle, and you put them together for yourself. That's absolutely why I do this work, because this is meant to help you bring things together, to put you in a place of wholeness for yourself. And we are going someplace good with all this, okay? So if we can get ourselves to rewrite the story, what would we like it to look like? Okay, here's what it looks like. Here's how I keep feeling like I'm getting stuck, and maybe I get stuck in resistance, I get stopped. Okay? How can I embrace and expect the wondrous to emerge? And not only how can I, but what would that look like? So, you know, like Karen, let's use Karen's example with the basement neighbors, okay? Ooh, it would be hard. How can you expect the wondrous to emerge from that situation? So in reality, we know what we got, but let's use your own imagination, the magic, the true magic of the magician, being a magus or a mage. How can you use that to have a little fun with it? Rewrite it. Maybe you rewrite it in a funny way, you know? Maybe you have some caricatures. There you go. Caricatures of these people, and instead of being, excuse me, and responding like they are, maybe they become different and start to actually be more respectful and like show up, and maybe you can have a little fun with it. Have a little laughter about it. Release some of the energies. Karen says, I remember the book, I'm Rich Beyond My Wildest Dreams. I am. They say when the going gets rough, ask for more stuff. Yeah, there you go. And reimagine it for yourself. You know, we kind of like use our imaginations a lot as children, and then as we grow up into, and we have to adult, and we get into adulting, and there's all these responsibilities, it is hard to find, you know, those places inside of ourselves where we can imagine again and daydream and re-envision something, right? So the I am energy, and we do end up, here's the 10 of Pentacles, we end up attracting in what we're looking for. This is where we can reclaim it. The Pentacles are the earth energy. So first of all, there's Mama Gaia, Gaia Sophia, Pachamama coming up again and saying, I am meeting you with this. To me, this feels like some neighbors, and they're talking about the harvest. The harvest is coming in the 10 of Pentacles. This is neighborly energy for one. This is communicating. This is finding common ground. This is respect for the land and the earth. Yeah, to be able to start and end, I think we have with a 10, especially the Pentacles energy, which pulls us into the natural world, to the earthly realm. And we also have children running and playing in the background. We have generations here. We have the older woman sitting, and she might be receiving some of the food to take inside. And we have what looks to be here like a little bit of an eye, like an all-seeing eye kind of come out, but it's very subtle. It could be a shield, it could be a basket, but it definitely has that eye. So can we reimagine, have different expectations, and expect the wondrous to occur, even if at first it doesn't feel like we can, but then we get deeper and deeper into it. We want to buy a farm and have nice neighbors. Yeah, I think you deserve that. Absolutely. Hi, I'm from the UK. Is that cool? I'm sure sometimes it's cool. I'm glad you're here from the UK. We've had someone from Russia, the UK. We've really broadened our horizons at Creators on the Crest. What's cool is if you are able to see yourself as a creator being in this world, and really embrace some of the shadow work and some of the tendencies that we might have around control and resistance, to let go and come into a place where not only we can receive, but we can dream big, and we can manifest from that place of our own imagination, from that clarity. Girl Gone says, I need to go out more in nature, especially being a Capricorn. Yeah, knowing what replenishes you is so, so important. I think I spend a lot of time inside, especially in the summer, because I get so hot and it's buggy outside. But now that the seasons are changing, I'm like, oh my gosh, I was outdoors last night and I can't go out there right at the point where day is turning into night because there's a lot of mosquitoes and they like to bite me. But after that, I go out and it's cooler, so I can put a light blanket on and I can go out and sit and stargaze. And it just feels really good to be outside and hear all the sounds. Yeah. So, beautiful way to kind of close off today. If anyone might want to go a little deeper into people pleasing and the actual transition between closing that off and opening into what's next for you, I do have and I'll add it in the description, a link to it, very special process called the closure process that I take people through. It's an 1.5-hour session. So if that's something that you might want to look into, I will link it in the replays, since there's going to be like 3 now that I have to go update. I will link it in there. Don't forget, this Sunday, 7 to 8 p.m. Central, if you'd like a free mini reading, come on and take advantage of that. Make sure you're on earlier, like closer to 7, because I do fill up fast. But if you have that question you want to ask, personal question, or you just want like your highest and best message, or you just want to say, leave it open to the universe and bring me the confirmation I need, that time is for subscribers. So you have to be subscribed. That's one of the benefits of being a creator subscriber. But we love having our Sunday sessions, and I hope to see some of you there if the time frame works out. It is later in the evening, so that does set it off for people who are in other places. But, I hope to see some of you there. It is such a time and such a good community of people who are coming in and supporting one another and receiving their own personal messages. So I hope you can enjoy that. Bear with me as I reset myself. I'm in the middle of a reset. I'm committed to these lives, the Frequency Fridays and the Sunday nights, but I'm kind of resetting my strategy for my channel because I want it to match my life in a way that I can flow and really be present and really go into some of these bigger topics in a way that still works with my schedule, which I know some of you can relate to. So that's what we're looking at. Girl Gone says autumn and October weather. Yes, me too. Fall is my favorite season. Fall and autumn, and I just love when it gets cooler. I just feel better. I like to be able to cozy up. When I'm hot, I'm just like, I can't get cool. But when I'm cool, I'm like, I can always put a sweater on if I want. And apparently my YouTube, or something's going on with YouTube, I will try to I've got to figure that out too before Sunday, because I don't want it to mess up my Sunday live. So I'm gonna have to see what's on there as well. Thank you all so much for sticking around today and hanging out. I hope you found some of these energies we discussed to be helpful to you. And a lot of you brought up, you just amaze me. Like, I think about, man, I'd love to have more people join the lives, but it's so fulfilling. You all that are here and participating, you're doing the work. You actually like critically think and really go into things for yourself. And I am just so honored. Like, I would rather have a smaller amount of people that is really doing the work, that really resonates and really gains something from what I offer, and vice versa, than 100,000 people that are just half listening and looking for some sort of short surface answer. So I really, really value you all so much. Thank you so much for participating and being here. We will have to check out Sedona Crystal Temple for the singing bowls. Thank you for that recommendation here on YouTube. And then, yeah, we'll be back next week. Who knows with what? We'll see. Let's see what next week brings for us. Thank you so much. I am so grateful for all of you, and I hope you have a lovely weekend ahead.